What if I told you the most powerful, precise, and fragile joint in your entire body is the same one you use every time you reach for a glass of water? Your shoulder is absurdly capable. It can generate massive power and speed, like a baseball pitcher's arm whipping at nearly 9,000 degrees per second. Yet at the same time, it can guide your hand with millimeter precision, tying shoelaces, threading a needle, or painting a masterpiece overhead. It carries the widest range of motion of any joint in the human body. And it can even support your entire body weight when hanging or pressing. But unlike the hip, which sits snugly in a deep socket, the shoulder is more like a golf ball resting on a tee. It's not a single joint. It's actually 4 joints working together in a delicate symphony. Its stability doesn't come from bone. It comes from muscle coordination. The rotator cuff centers the ball in the socket, while the scapular muscles guide the shoulder blade for precise, controlled movement. This incredible design allows us to throw spears, climb, swim, and serve tennis balls at world-class speeds. But here's the trade-off. The very mobility that makes the shoulder amazing also makes it vulnerable. Pain is common. Diagnosis is often uncertain. And what we believe about our shoulders can sometimes matter more than what an MRI shows. As Professor Jeremy Lewis, one of the world's leading shoulder researchers, explains,
structural diagnosis is not possible, and there's a really poor correlation between imaging and symptoms.
In other words, your pain often doesn't match what imaging reveals. And if you base treatment only on scans, whether it's resting because of a scary result or chasing a perfect structural fix, you can actually make things worse. And that brings us to habit number 1. When your shoulder starts to hurt, the worst advice you can follow might be the most common: just rest. It feels instinctive to protect it, to stop reaching overhead, lifting, or moving. Rest feels safe. Doctors sometimes even reinforce this, pointing to damage on scans. But here's the truth. Long-term rest is one of the worst things you can do for most shoulder problems.
The good news is the pain does not mean you're causing damage. The damage that you can cause is by not moving, not exercising your shoulder.
Short-term rest has value after an acute injury, like a fall or dislocation, but once the shoulder has settled, keeping it still slows recovery. Within days, blood flow decreases, inflammation lingers, and muscles weaken. Over weeks, stiffness sets in, function declines, and the joint becomes more fragile, not from the injury, but from avoidance. This is the fear avoidance cycle. Research shows that when people fear pain, what scientists call kinesiophobia, they develop more pain, more disability, and worse outcomes. The brain starts labeling normal motion as dangerous. Muscles tense protectively, the arm moves less, and the pain intensifies, sometimes spreading all the way to the neck or back. As shoulder researcher Jeremy Lewis explains, pain doesn't always mean damage. Studies show that even people with partial or full tendon tears often improve just as much with exercise as those without tears. The danger isn't movement, it's avoiding it. So what should you do instead? Start by finding a safe entry point with gentle motion like isometric exercises. Even with mild discomfort around 2 to 3 out of 10, you're on the right track. Here's how you start. Bend your elbow at 90 degrees, keeping your shoulders back and elbow tucked close to your ribs. Now press the back of your hand against a wall and hold it there. Do this for 15 to 30 seconds, 3 to 5 times throughout the day. Your arm doesn't move, but something important happens. The rotator cuff activates. This tells your brain the shoulder is safe while boosting blood flow and nutrients for faster recovery. From there, progress to controlled movements, simple active range of motion in a pain-free range. Then add light resistance and gradually rebuild functional strength. Sit up straight, shoulders back, don't slouch. We've all heard it from parents, teachers, or maybe even fitness coaches. The idea is that perfect posture is the ultimate protector of your shoulders. But here's the catch. Posture isn't a fixed destination, it's a variable. As Professor Jeremy Lewis explains,
I don't think there's any evidence that looking at posture improves our clinical understanding of where the patient's symptoms are coming from.
Research shows that static posture has only a weak and inconsistent link to shoulder pain. In other words, Sitting up perfectly straight all day won't guarantee a pain-free shoulder. And slouching doesn't automatically doom you to problems. Some studies suggest it may even help focus. What matters more is movement. Joints, muscles, and tissues thrive on variety. And the real issue is staying locked in one position for too long. That's where posture pit stops come in. Every 30 to 60 minutes, take a quick reset break. It doesn't have to be complicated, just a couple of drills that undo the shape you've been stuck in. First, try a simple shoulder blade squeeze. Squeeze your shoulder blades back and down while rotating your hands outward, keeping your elbows tucked close to your ribs. You can also add a resistance band for more activation to reverse the rounded shoulders. Next, move into 90-degree shoulder rotations. This opens up your chest and reactivates muscles that shut down from our screen-heavy world, where everything we do pulls us forward and down. Start with thumbs up. It's safer and more comfortable for most people. Once your shoulders feel strong, progress to back of the hand up for more challenge, but avoid it if it causes pinching. For all movements, focus on controlled motion within your pain-free range. Pause briefly at the end position, then slowly return. No shrugging, just smooth, deliberate movement. To build strength and stability, add a light resistance band. Aim for 10 to 15 reps in 2 to 4 short sets throughout the day, holding each rep for about 2 seconds at the top. These quick resets don't take much time, but they add up, keeping your shoulders mobile, balanced, and refreshed after long hours at a desk or screen. So instead of obsessing about holding perfect posture all day, remember this. Don't chase positions, but change positions frequently. Your shoulders will thank you for the variety. If your shoulder feels tight, your first instinct is often to stretch it harder, push further, hold longer, crank into that end range, and eventually it'll loosen up. Not exactly. Aggressive stretching often backfires. It can irritate tissues, flare up pain, and leave the joint feeling stiffer than before. A smarter approach is to work with your shoulder, not against it. Instead of forcing range, focus on gentle mobility that feels safe to your nervous system. For most stretches, begin at a mild intensity, around 2 to 4 out of 10. Hold each stretch for 30 to 45 seconds. This gives your nervous system time to relax and stop guarding the muscle. If your body tolerates it, you can gradually increase to about 6 or 7, but only if you feel a comfortable stretch in the right area, not irritation or sharp pain. And most importantly, there should be no flare-up afterward. Here are some of the most common stretches that can cause problems when done too aggressively, and safer ways to approach them. The sleeper stretch is notorious for irritating the rotator cuff by cranking the joint into an uncomfortable position. Instead of freeing your shoulder, it often makes stiffness worse. Behind the back towel stretch is another culprit. This stretch is often prescribed to improve mobility, but for people with limited internal rotation or impingement, it can jam the shoulder and feel very uncomfortable. If you try it, go gently and never force the arm up your back. A better option for both of these is the cross-body adduction stretch. Stand tall and bring your arm across your body at chest height. Use your opposite hand to gently pull your arm closer to your chest while keeping your shoulder blade pulled back. You should feel this stretch in the back of your shoulder. This targets posterior shoulder tightness and helps improve internal rotation safely, while teaching your brain that the new range is safe, not threatening. Research shows the cross-body stretch outperforms the sleeper stretch in both comfort and effectiveness for these exact issues. The doorway pec stretch can be great for opening the chest, but if you do it with elbows too high, it may overload the front of the joint or cause shoulder irritation. A safe way is to keep your elbows at or below shoulder height, and make sure you feel the stretch across your pecs. If you want to go higher, only do so if it feels good and pain-free. Arm circles or windmills are often used to loosen the shoulders, but done too quickly, they rely on momentum and can easily irritate stiff or sensitive joints. Start small, keep them slow and controlled, and only increase the range if your shoulders tolerate it. Overhead tricep stretch can compress the top of the shoulder and irritate the rotator cuff when you pull your elbow hard behind your head. Done gently, it can feel fine, but if you notice pinching, back off and keep the movement within a comfortable range. Here's the key takeaway. Your shoulders respond better to consistency than intensity. Instead of one aggressive stretching session, aim for comfortable stretches 3 to 5 times throughout the day. Think of it as smart mobility. Not forcing your shoulder into painful positions, but gradually building confidence and space in the joint. Your nervous system is constantly deciding whether movement is safe or threatening. Gentle, frequent stretches convince it that this new range is normal and okay. And that's how this steady, low-stress approach gets you much further than trying to muscle your way into flexibility. Some gym moves look impressive, but your shoulders might be paying the price. Behind the neck presses and pull-downs put your shoulders in extreme positions with less clearance. That combination increases stress on the rotator cuff, makes the joint more vulnerable, and can lead to pain or even severe injury. And it's not just behind the neck lifts. Even traditional chest press and shoulder press can be risky when your elbows flare straight out wide, forming a T shape with your body. This position is often taught as textbook form. It feels strong, it looks symmetrical, and many people think it's the proper way to press. But this classic T position actually narrows the space where your shoulder tendons glide. Research shows it increases the risk of impingement, tendon irritation, and joint strain, especially under heavy load. The good news? You don't have to sacrifice strength to protect your shoulders. Simply pressing and pulling in front of your body with your arms angled slightly forward gives nearly the same benefits while reducing strain. This scapular plane position keeps your shoulders in safer positions and allows you to build serious overhead and back strength without unnecessarily stressing the joint. Dumbbells are also a smarter choice than the barbell for pressing. Research, including EMG studies, shows they provide similar chest and shoulder activation to the barbell, but with less joint stress and more stabilizer recruitment. With a barbell, your hands are locked into one fixed path, which can overload the joint if your shoulders aren't perfectly symmetrical. Dumbbells let you press in the scapular plane with a slight inward arc, keeping the movement safer while still building serious strength. Another great option is the landmine press, which develops overhead power while keeping the shoulder in a controlled, joint-friendly path. Studies show it reduces shoulder stress compared to vertical pressing, while still activating the chest, delts, and triceps effectively. For back strength, neutral grip pull-ups or front pull-downs train the same muscles as wide grip versions, but with less stress on the shoulder joint and biceps tendon. These safer variations allow you to keep training hard, building strength, and protecting your joints all at the same time. That's smart lifting, making choices that keep your shoulders strong, mobile, and pain-free for decades. But the real danger isn't just how you lift, it's what you fail to train. One of the biggest mistakes people make in their shoulder training is pressing, and pressing some more, while completely ignoring the stabilizers that make the joint work in the first place. Your scapula, or shoulder blade, is the foundation of shoulder health. When it moves well, your shoulder moves well. But when it's neglected, imbalances creep in, and pain is often the result. A lot of popular isolation moves don't help as much as people think. Upright rows or the empty can raise often put the joint in compromised positions, irritating tissues rather than protecting them. Instead of chasing strength at the expense of control, you need to train the muscles that stabilize and guide your shoulder. Here's where smarter drills make all the difference. Wall slides with an overhead reach wake up the serratus anterior and train smoother upward rotation. Stand against a wall with elbows bent, slide your arms up, and reach slightly overhead while keeping your shoulder blades flat. Prone Y raises target the lower traps, the muscles that anchor and balance your shoulder blades. Lie face down, arms angled into a Y, then slowly lift them off the floor with thumbs up, focusing on squeezing your shoulder blades down and back. The Falcon raise, a joint-friendly lift that builds shoulder strength safely, without the pinching you might get from other versions of this exercise. Hold light weights with thumbs slightly up, raise just above shoulder height, and return under control. One-arm suitcase carries. Build rock-solid scapular control while your body manages load and posture. Pick up a weight at your side, stand tall, and walk slowly without letting your torso tip or your shoulder collapse. Together, these drills build the foundation your shoulders need, restoring balance, improving control, and keeping the joint strong without unnecessary strain. Do 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps in a pain-free range. And if you'd like me to put together a full shoulder stabilizer routine, the kind that can ease pain, unlock smoother movement, and protect your joints long-term, just drop a comment. Dead hangs have exploded in popularity, with many calling them the single best fix for shoulder pain. And while they can help improve mobility and decompress the joint, they aren't the miracle cure that social media makes them out to be. In fact, for shoulders that are already irritated, jumping straight into a full passive hang can easily flare up symptoms. A smarter, more joint-friendly approach is to start with supported partial hangs. Keep your feet lightly on the ground or on a box so you can control how much load your shoulders are handling. This way, you get the decompression benefits while staying in control. Over time, as your shoulders adapt, you can gradually reduce support. This progressive approach builds resilience, keeps your shoulders safe, and sets you up for long-term mobility gains. Here's the big picture. Most shoulder habits come from good intentions, trying to protect or strengthen the joint. But when misapplied, they make your shoulders fragile, not strong. The truth is, your shoulders are adaptable. Pain doesn't always equal damage. Perfect posture doesn't exist, and flashy lifts don't guarantee strength. What really works is variety, gradual loading, and confidence. Start small, move often, and progress steadily. The strongest shoulders aren't built on rigid rules, they're built on trust, smart training, and adaptation. If this video helped you, hit like to support the channel and drop a comment with which habit surprised you most. And don't forget to subscribe for more evidence-based guides to building resilient, pain-free strength. And if you want to keep learning, watch my video on the 8 habits that are wrecking your knees. You might be surprised how similar mistakes show up in other joints.